Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're going to be revisiting Cthulhu again. Why? Why? Because it's been getting a lot of love lately. Brian Julius did a post on LinkedIn about Cthulhu and about how he was using, creating some no calculate versions and using AI to figure out some solutions for it. Alexis Olson then also came along and he created some simplified version, so he's got a couple of these out there. Which boy, I wish back when I created Cthulhu, I I would have been thinking about it this way. But if I had, then it wouldn't be called Cthulhu. So there you go. So it's been getting a lot of love out there in the community. I had first revisited it using streaks, right? Which again, Alexis chimes in on this one with some simplified versions as well. So there's been a lot of activity going on around Cthulhu and streaks and all of that sort of stuff. So, and then this pops up in the community forums today. Johnny IP, where basically he wants Cthulhu, but he wants to identify like this is a 12-day streak, then he wants the 12 in all of the rows, basically, is what he wants. Um, so final day and date duration. I didn't actually do this part, but that should be pretty simple to do. So anyway, so I went ahead and created this, and it uses Cthulhu as a basis, but then it needs to then do an additional calculation, and this is probably not the most efficient way of doing it. It's just how I did it. So I'll probably be releasing this out to the quick measure gallery, but let's bring it up here. So I started out using the old Cthulhu as a calculated column, right? And then what I did was once I had this, then I could create this Cthulhu streak, which basically, essentially I get the group, I do a min-x where I filter the table where the extended, where the grouping column, right? In this case called extendable date flag, is not equal to my group, and the index is greater than my current index. That gives me a min. So what I'm doing is I'm looking up, like basically I'm looking up in the table. Okay, if I'm on this column and I assume I'm in some kind of a streak, right? Because I'm always in a streak at one way or another, more or less. And now I want to look up what is the minimum index for where it's my streak has ended. Okay, that's basically what that min is looking up. So if I assume I'm in a streak, then I'm going to look up where my streak ends, right? So then I can actually then go and grab the Cthulhu column that was calculated, right, at that index position -1. Okay, that's the next line min value. And then I can say, okay, if the group, because and what that does, then it looks up, okay, this is when the streak ended, assuming that the min is where my streak ended. Well, then the row before it is still in the streak, and it should be the maximum value of that streak. So I grab that value, and then I just say, hey, if the group, and to follow their requirements, right? I said, if the group is yes, then I want the min value, that I've calculated, otherwise blank. So essentially, I'm using Cthulhu and then looking up, that Cthulhu. So I just called it Double Cthulhu. All right. Hopefully, I explained that fairly well. Now, you can get this all in one single, I can actually zoom on the one single column, right? This is the Double Cthulhu column, where basically I have my index, right? I then add my Cthulhu column, and then I add my longest column, and then I can just look up basically out of that table what at that index position what the longest is, and then it also returns back, right? All the 12s and the 1 and the 1. And if I would actually get rid of that check for if group equals yes, to return blank, you'd actually see it actually works for all the blank ones as well. So that there it is. I mean, horribly inefficient, I'm assuming. Um, and then you can also do it as a measure, also horribly inefficient. Um, so basically, as a measure version, right, I added this table 0 just to make it somewhat maybe a little bit more efficient, right? Since I'm doing an all, I do a select columns here because all I really need is my index column and my group column, if you will. So from that point on, it's the same basic code as before. I'm just in terms of any references to the table, or now references to table 0. And I had to add the max around my index, obviously, because it's a measure and you can't just refer to a column without having some kind of aggregation in front of it. Okay, so there you have it. There is Double Cthulhu. And it does what the Johnny IP wants it to do. So that's all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.